Resilient hearts. I swear I won't let myself get caught in that trap again. The words left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I could feel the weight of concern in my friends' gazes. Olivia and Mia exchanged glances, worry shadowing their features. Olivia leaned in, wrapping an arm around me. Come on, Lila. You've got to stop with the doomsday talk. You weren't saying that last summer. I let out a huff, pushing her away gently. Yeah, and look where that got me. Mia opened her mouth, ready to chime in, but I raised a hand to stop her. I'm serious. Last summer I was happily in love and, well, let's just say that ended as explosively as the 4th of July. Lila, my ex, Ellie, brought her old girlfriend to our anniversary dinner. Long story short, I ended up with a bruised ego and 2 shattered dishes. She ended up with the girl and my favorite mug. Olivia winced, recalling the night clearly. Mia shivered at the memory. She had been the silent witness to the chaotic unraveling of my relationship with Ellie. I had loved Ellie the way a sailor loves the sea, carefree and lost, but it hadn't been reciprocated. I remembered how I used to be before everything changed, how losing my father made me cold and often unreachable. I tossed on my leather jacket with a sigh. I think it's safer if I steer clear of the whole love thing for now. Mia offered a small, encouraging smile. Things can only get better from here. Trust me. I rolled my eyes but couldn't help the hint of a smile creeping in. Yeah, right. When I finally made my exit from Olivia and Mia's apartment, I strolled through the bustling streets of San Francisco. The neon lights flickered like my worries, both mesmerizing and unsettling. I needed a drink, so I made my way to the Silver Lark, a local bar known for its lively atmosphere and craft cocktails. Gazing out over the crowd, I managed to catch the bartender's eye as I entered. Hey, Lila. The usual? Alex called from behind the bar, an easy grin on his face as he slid a whiskey neat my way. Thanks, Alex. Just what I needed, I replied, clinking my glass against his. I took a generous sip, letting the warmth flood through me, and leaned back against the bar, soaking in the music. Just then, a captivating figure walked in, a woman with long, wavy auburn hair and striking hazel eyes. She seemed to light up the dim bar. Alex's grin widened when he saw her. Carmen. You came. Carmen waved at him, her smile bright and inviting. Of course. I wouldn't miss a night out, she replied, her voice smooth like velvet. The moment she turned to face me, our eyes locked and time seemed to pause. Hey there, she said, sauntering over to me, never seen you around here before. I swallowed hard, feigning confidence. Yeah, I just relocated back to the city. Figured I'd explore a little. You're in luck. This place is amazing. She gestured to the bustling crowd. Want me to show you what it's all about? I hesitated, recalling my vow. But something about Carmen's infectious energy pulled me in. Sure, why not? The evening flew by as we exchanged stories, laughter, and cocktails. With every shared glance and soft chuckle, I felt a piece of the wall around my heart crack. As more drinks flowed, I found myself completely captivated by her, swept away in the moment. Lila, she said softly, her eyes sparkling with mischief, can I take you somewhere special? The weight of my past pressed on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I hesitated, remembering my painful history. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, Carmen. A flicker of disappointment crossed her face. I understand. I'm not trying to rush you. Just know that I'm here if you ever want to explore. As we said our goodbyes, I took her hand and kissed her cheek. Tonight was incredible, Carmen. Let's do this again. Absolutely. You have my number, she replied, a dazzling smile lighting up her features. 4 years later. I stood on the beach, the sound of waves crashing against the shore soothing my soul. The salty breeze intertwined with laughter as Carmen lay in my lap, lost in a carefree moment of bliss. She looked up at me, her smile warm and inviting. Do you love me? I chuckled softly, brushing the hair from her face. Of course I do. That's why you've got that beautiful ring on your finger. Carmen playfully rolled her eyes. Please, I distinctly remember you begging me to say yes. I couldn't help but laugh, the sound mingling with the rushing tide. I love you, Carmen Ruiz. I love you more, Lila Everett. Sometimes love sneaks up on you in the most unexpected ways, wrapping around your heart when you least expect it. But that's the beauty of it. I smiled, realizing I was no longer afraid of love. I promised to never fall out of love again. In that moment, I knew I would let love guide me wherever it might lead. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the shore, Carmen and I settled into a companionable silence. The gentle lapping of the waves seemed to echo the soft rhythm of our hearts intertwined, a tranquil symphony celebrating our love. Remember that first night at the Silver Lark? Carmen asked, her voice tinged with nostalgia. How you acted all cool and collected when inside you were probably a bundle of nerves. I chuckled, recalling my attempts to play it off like I wasn't completely captivated by her presence. Oh, I was a wreck, I admitted, grinning. But you made it so easy to connect. It was like you were a breath of fresh air. Carmen tilted her head, capturing the last light of the day in her eyes. And now look at us, 4 years later on the beach, no less. I still can't believe we went from a wild night at a bar to planning our future together. The prospect of the future had always felt uncertain, especially in a world that had thrown me countless obstacles, but with Carmen by my side, it filled me with hope. Speaking of which, I said, my heart racing, remember when we talked about traveling together? I think we should start planning that trip to Spain. Her eyes lit up at the suggestion. Really? You would want that? Absolutely. I want to share every part of my life with you, including your home country, I replied earnestly, feeling a surge of excitement at the thought of exploring new horizons together. I want to see where you grew up, meet your family, the whole 9 yards. Carmen's face softened, her smile melting my heart. You mean it? That would mean everything to me. As the last rays of sunlight began to fade, I felt a rush of emotion swelling in my chest. I mean it, Carmen. You are my world. I want us to experience everything, the good, the bad, and the in-between. She looked at me, the deep connection we shared reflecting in her eyes. Lila, I feel the same way. It's so rare to find someone who just gets you, you know. I never imagined I'd find someone who understands me in every sense. We sat in quiet contemplation for a moment, the sound of the waves providing a soothing backdrop as I mulled over the moments that had brought us here. Hey, I said suddenly, pulling out a small black velvet box from my pocket, the very one I had carried with me for weeks, finding the right moment to present it. Before we dive into all that future talk, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Carmen's eyes widened in surprise and curiosity. Lila, what are you? I opened the box to reveal a beautifully crafted ring, delicate, yet bold, adorned with a single shimmering stone that caught the last rays of sunlight, casting tiny prisms across the sand. Carmen, I know we've only been together a few years, but they've been the most incredible years of my life. You've shown me what true love looks like. What I went through before feels like a distant memory now. Her breath hitched as she stared at the ring, tears welling in her eyes. I want to spend my life with you, I continued, feeling the weight of my words. Will you marry me? Carmen gasped, hands flying to her mouth in disbelief. A rush of emotions flooded through her as she processed the moment. Lila, oh my God. Are you serious? I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. From the very first moment I met you, I knew you were someone special. You've changed my life for the better in ways I could never imagine. With trembling hands, I held the ring out to her. Carmen Ruiz, will you be my wife? She blinked back tears, the waves crashing around us, creating a symphony of exhilaration and joy. Yes. Yes, I will. I slipped the ring onto her finger, where it fit perfectly. She let out a laugh, a mixture of elation and disbelief, as I pulled her into my arms. The warmth of our embrace mirrored the sun setting on the horizon, sealing the moment forever. With her head resting against my shoulder and the ring sparkling in the fading light, Carmen whispered, "I love you, Lila. You make everything feel possible." "I love you too," I replied, my chest swelling with happiness. "And I can't wait to explore every corner of this life with you by my side." As the sky turned to deep shades of purple and orange, we stood together, enveloped by hope and love, the waves crashing at our feet, a beautiful reminder that love always finds a way, sparkling through the darkness and lighting up the horizon. The days that followed our engagement were a whirlwind of excitement and preparation. Carmen and I spent countless evenings over candlelit dinners, dreaming, laughing, and planning our future. Each night, the glimmer of her ring reflected the spark of joy in my heart, a reminder of the commitment we had made to one another. One evening, as we had dinner on our balcony, I looked out at the twinkling lights of San Francisco. The city felt vibrant and alive, just like our love. "Have you thought about how you want the wedding to be?" I asked, turning my attention to Carmen. Her eyes lit up. "I'd love something intimate, perhaps by the beach. Just our closest friends and family," she mused, twirling her pasta around her fork. "And I want to incorporate elements of my culture, maybe a flamenco dance." "That sounds amazing," I said, feeling warm swell in my chest at the thought of sharing those traditions with our loved ones. "We could even have a fiesta, lots of colors, music, and delicious food." Carmen grinned, her enthusiasm contagious. "Yes. Tacos, churros, and a lot of dancing. Just imagine. I can already picture everyone having a blast." As we discussed plans, the atmosphere filled with laughter and love. It was moments like these that solidified my belief that we were embarking on a beautiful journey together, hand in hand. However, amidst the exhilaration, I noticed Carmen occasionally lost in thought. She would stare out the window, her brow furrowed, a hint of uncertainty clouding her vibrant spirit. Concern crept into my chest, and I decided it was time to check in. "Carmen, is everything all right? You've seemed a little distant lately," I said gently one evening as we sat on the couch, sipping a bottle of wine. With a deep breath, she leaned back against the cushions. "I've just been thinking about my family. I want more than anything for them to be part of our wedding. But I haven't spoken to my parents in years." I took her hand, squeezing it gently. "Have you thought about reaching out to them? I know it's a tough decision, but it could help mend some of those bridges." She looked down at our intertwined fingers, a mixture of hope and fear flashing across her face. "I want to, but what if they don't accept me? What if they don't accept us?" "Whatever happens, I'm here for you," I assured her. "And I will stand by your side no matter what. Your love is valid, and you deserve to share that with your family." Carmen let out a small sigh, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "Thank you, Lila. That means the world to me." Over the next few days, Carmen wrestled with the decision. I watched as she took her time, but I could see a spark of determination burning within her. Finally, she reached out to her family, sending a heartfelt letter sharing our engagement and inviting them to be part of our special day. The waiting period was excruciating. We both checked our phones constantly, hoping for a response. Just when I thought she might burst from anticipation, we received a message from her mother. With shaky hands, Carmen opened the text. "I can't believe this. They're coming." Her eyes widened in disbelief, and before I knew it, she leaped into my arms, laughter ringing through our apartment. I hugged her tightly, laughing with her joy. "This is amazing. Just imagine how wonderful it will be to have them there." But as the excitement settled, I could see the worry creeping back into Carmen's eyes. What if they don't accept me? What if they refuse to accept the fact that I'm marrying a woman? I brushed a strand of hair from her face, allowing my gaze to meet hers with certainty. "You are a fierce, beautiful, and loving person, Carmen. Regardless of their reactions, I want you to be proud of who you are. I believe in you, and I believe in us." With each passing week, our wedding plans became more tangible, and as we continued to prepare for the big day, Carmen's family got more involved. They reached out via video calls and emails, sharing ideas and suggestions for the wedding. Carmen blossomed with each interaction. She was excited yet nervous about their arrival. Finally, the day came when her family would fly in from Spain. When they stepped through the door, I could sense the tension in the air. Carmen and I stood hand in hand, exchanging glances filled with hope. Her parents looked at us with a mix of curiosity and apprehension, and it was clear that the atmosphere was heavy with unspoken words. "Welcome." I greeted them warmly, trying to ease the tension. "We're so happy to have you here. Carmen has been looking forward to this moment." Her father, a tall man with a stern demeanor but kind eyes, nodded slowly. "Thank you for having us," he said, his voice deep yet strangely gentle. Carmen's mother stepped forward, her expression softening. "We are very proud of you, dear," she said, her voice carrying a beautiful accent. "We are also curious about your life." After a moment of hesitation, Carmen found her voice. "I'm engaged to Lila," she said, her voice steady yet tinged with a hint of emotion. "And I want you both to be part of our wedding." Silence enveloped the room as Carmen's words hung in the air. I felt the weight of both our hearts beating in tandem, a fragile tapestry of hope, fear, and love. Carmen's mother stepped closer, the emotions swirling in her eyes. "You have chosen someone who makes you happy, and that is what matters most. Love is precious, Carmen." With those words, relief flooded over me, and I squeezed Carmen's hand tighter. There was a moment of hesitation, and then Carmen's father nodded. "If you are happy, then we are happy for you," he said, the cadence of his voice softer. Carmen let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding, her face lighting up with joy. All around us, the walls that had seemed so high began to crumble, replaced by understanding and acceptance. As the days unfolded, Carmen's family became more involved in the wedding preparations. Laughter filled our home, and for the first time in ages, it felt complete. Finally, the wedding day arrived, a stunning outdoor ceremony along the beach, bedecked with colorful flowers, soft linens, and the gentle sound of waves as our backdrop. Family and friends gathered, their smiles echoing the love in the air. Carmen stood before me, radiant and breathtaking in a flowing white dress adorned with intricate lace, her hair crowned with delicate blooms. My heart swelled as she took my hand, and I could see the love in her eyes reflected back at me. As we exchanged vows, promising to embrace the journey ahead, through all the laughter and tears, I felt as though we were surrounded by an ocean of love, uniting our lives forever. With a soft kiss sealing our promises, our friends and family erupted into applause. And just like that, we began a new chapter together, full of love, growth, and boundless possibility. Hand in hand, we stepped into our future, resilient hearts bound by an unbreakable bond, ready to embrace whatever adventures awaited us. As the applause echoed against the backdrop of crashing waves, Carmen and I stood enveloped in joy, our hearts beating in sync. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow that made the world feel more vibrant, like it was celebrating our love with us. After the ceremony, we wandered off for some private moments, the sound of laughter from our guests fading in the distance. Hand in hand, we made our way down to the shore, a quiet spot where the ocean kissed the sand. "Can you believe we did it?" Carmen asked breathlessly, turning to face me, her eyes sparkling with happiness. I smiled, unable to contain the joy bubbling inside me. We not only did it but we faced so many fears together. "I'm so proud of us." Leaning in, I pressed my lips to hers, the kiss igniting a warmth that pulsed through us both. We spent a few precious moments wrapped in each other, the world around us disappearing. When we finally pulled away, I looked into her eyes and saw a future filled with endless possibilities. As we returned to our guests, the energy shifted to celebration. Music floated through the air, and the beach transformed into a lively fiesta. Our friends and family danced, twirled, and laughed, the love and joy radiating from everyone was palpable. Dinner was served under a canopy of lights, and we exchanged heartfelt toasts. Carmen's parents stood up, their love and pride spilling over as they shared beautiful stories about their daughter. I could see how they had come to embrace not only Carmen's journey but also mine, and it filled my heart with warmth. When it was time for our first dance, the music shifted to a soft, romantic tune. Carmen pulled me close, and as we swayed together, I felt a kind of magic in the air, a moment where everything felt just perfectly right. "Do you remember the first time we danced?" Carmen whispered, her voice barely above a hush. I grinned, remembering our awkward yet endearing two-step at the Silver Lark after a few too many drinks. "Of course. You stepped on my feet more than a few times." Laughing, she squeezed my waist. I was so nervous. "But look at us now." "Look at us now," I repeated softly, taking in the scene of love and support surrounding us. As the night progressed, we shared laughter, tears, and countless dances under the stars. Eventually, it was time for the traditional toss of the bouquet. I stood with my back to the crowd and tossed it over my shoulder, giggling as a flurry of hands reached for the bouquet. The victor turned out to be Mia, and I could see the excitement in her eyes. One of the last events of the evening was the cutting of the cake. It was a beautiful creation, layers of rich chocolate and vanilla decorated with fresh flowers. We shared bites, feeding each other in playful banter, smudging frosting on one another's noses and laughing uncontrollably. As the final notes of music played, our guests slowly began to depart, leaving behind warm wishes and open arms. Carmen and I stood amidst the fading lights, our fingers intertwined, hearts still dancing. "Can you believe it's over?" Carmen said softly, her voice tinged with nostalgia. "It's not over, it's just the beginning," I replied, brushing her hair back from her face. "We're still on our journey, and this is just one beautiful moment in a lifetime of many." Carmen smiled, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'm so grateful for everything, the struggles, the heartaches, the triumphs. They all led me to you." I took her hands in mine, looking deeply into her eyes. "And I'm grateful for you. You've taught me that love can mend the deepest wounds and fill the voids we thought would never heal." As we walked back toward the last remnants of the celebration, I felt a surge of purpose. I wanted to embrace every challenge, every joy that lay ahead. With Carmen by my side, I knew we would weather any storm together. The last flickering lights of the party illuminated our path, as we headed toward our honeymoon suite, the ocean waves providing a calming serenade. Once settled, we found ourselves on the balcony overlooking the sea, the moon casting a silvery glow. We shared a glass of wine, stolen kisses, and whispered promises under the stars. "I can't wait for our life together," I said, my voice filled with conviction. "Let's take those adventures we talked about. Let's build the home and family we always envisioned." Carmen's eyes lit up and she nodded eagerly. "Yes, and let's explore every corner of the world. Let's travel and experience life in all its colors." As we settled back into each other's arms, I realized that the beauty of this moment was that it was just the beginning. Together we would weave new memories, face life's challenges, and celebrate love in its many forms. "Whatever comes our way," I whispered, looking deeply into her eyes. "I promise to cherish you, grow with you, and love you fiercely." "And I promise the same, my love," Carmen replied, her voice warm and steady. Under the stars, we held each other close, wrapped in dreams and hopes for our shared future. It was a future painted with the colors of love, one where resilience and joy reigned supreme. Together, we would face the world, knowing that wherever life took us, our hearts were forever intertwined, and that was more powerful than anything else.